What's up, guys? Today, as you can see, we are not in the normal setting. This is my workshop. It's where I do lots of weird car things like making them faster and ruining them. But anyway, today we're gonna do something that I've always wanted to do that a lot of people have asked me about, and I've never actually tried it, so I can't give you guys a real answer. We're going to be DeRimming a 20-gallon long. This idea came to me to actually finally do it. Well, I've thought about this for a long time. Lots of people have asked about it. Lots of people have thought about doing it, but I've never really had a reason to do it. Basically, I have that nano tank that you guys haven't seen yet. It belongs to a friend of mine. He let me have it, but I'm gonna give it back to him because it's a really nice tank. It's like a 90-gallon, or it's a $90 6-gallon low iron rimless tank, and basically, I was looking for replacements online that were bigger, a little bit wider, and a little bit longer, and I couldn't find anything I really liked dimension-wise. And then I thought to myself, something that was 12 by 12 by maybe 30 inches would be perfect. And then, literally like 3 days later, it hit me that that's the exact dimensions of a 20-gallon long, and I had been thinking about doing it for a while. So today is the day we DeRim a 20 long. I've heard people say that you can have success with this without any reinforcements, but I don't trust it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna DeRim it, and then we're going to do similar to a Euro brace kind of setup. I'm gonna do maybe something across these. I don't know yet, but I'm definitely gonna do slats across, probably 3, just to keep it from bowing. And that's the main thing you have to worry about when you're DeRimming tanks. The bowing and like the pressing out of the tank is gonna put stress on the silicone, and the silicone is going to fail over time. That's the main thing that these braces do. They keep things from just pushing apart. They keep these seams from stretching at all and ruining your silicone. So basically, I'm going to kind of revise or just basically do a little bit more research and ask around and see what other people have done. Do a little bit more research on Euro bracing, different types of bracing. This tank is going to be for, what are they called? Golden white clouds, and they tend to jump. So I may want to do a kind of bracing like a Euro brace all the way around and then run like an internal filter or something, but we'll see. This is just going to be the DeRimming process most likely. I'm not going to aquascape it in this video. But yeah, let's get started. All right, so if you've seen my other video, I'm not gonna really go over this too in depth because I've already done videos on it. DeRimming a tank is fairly straightforward. You basically want to take a lot of time to do it carefully, because if you break it, it's gonna crack. So the way I do it, the way I suggest you guys do it on my other channel, or on this channel, not my other channel. I do have another channel though, follow me on there, Run Racing. The way I suggest doing it is basically when you're pulling up these, like any side basically, it's gonna torque because this is a solid piece. You're twisting this and it's gonna twist this at the same time and you can crack the glass. So what I like to do is I cut all the corners so they're independent of one another when you're pulling, and it's not gonna be torquing your corners. It just significantly lessens the odds that you're going to crack the glass. But yeah, so for that, I use a Dremel. Technically, the only tool you need for DeRimming, on what other people suggest, is a putty knife. What you're going to do is you're going to go around, follow through all of this stuff, and cut the silicone. Just make sure you get all of it, and then you kind of rock it back and forth. But I like to cut the rim first. You have to be very careful. You can cut the glass, you can put little notches in it. So just take your time, keep checking, take the Dremel away, cut, take the Dremel away, cut. Just make sure you're not going too deep. It's really not that difficult if you take your time. I'll be right back. I forgot my super fancy ADA shop glasses. Safety first. so all the corners are now cut, covered in plastic shards, basically. That's why you want to use those glasses. It'll melt and throw little molten balls of plastic on you, like this stuff. It's pretty annoying. But if you can see there, you can see through the plastic and into the glass. And that's what you want for all the corners. Like I said, I already have a video on DeRimming tanks if you want a more in-depth view of it. It's on there. Yeah, so now we take the putty knife and we go under all these corners, and we can easily get up under the silicone to cut it all. And then basically you want to go under the other side. And a lot of these newer tanks, when you're cutting, a lot of the newer tanks are pretty heavy on silicone. So you'll hit silicone before you hit glass a lot of times, which is a good thing, because you're not cutting glass. And the silicone is clear, so you'll be able to tell when you've cut through it. There's that one. So basically, once you've cut the silicone, there's still a bead along the top, and you can't really get that unless you cut this, which you can. It's totally easy. I just prefer not to, just my personal preference. But basically, you're gonna get your fingers under the rim on the outside and kind of slowly peel and kind of like that, and then kind of rock back and forth from one side to the other. And you can see there, starting to come up. So this is easier if it's like on the ground. I can't really get a good angle to peel up on this, but you get the idea. I'm just gonna go through, do all this, probably speed it up in the video, and then show you guys what it looks like once this is off. And this can happen. It's fairly common. It's basically what happens if you don't. I've never seen that before. They got some tape on there. That's kind of cool. If you don't slowly go across the whole thing, I just slowly started peeling up on this, and it snapped. It's really scary because it sounds like the glass is cracking, but this is fairly common when I'm doing this. And the thing about it is you've already cut the corner, so you can't reuse it anyway. But yeah, just don't be too concerned if this happens. All right, so now that you've got the rim off, obviously razor blades, this is a very, very, very annoying process. You need lots of razor blades because they'll get dull really quick and they'll stop like getting the very fine pieces of silicone. So this is just gonna take a really long time. I'm not even gonna time lapse it because it sucks. But yeah, I'll show you guys when it's cleaned up. All right, so I've got all the silicone off that I wanted to get off. I cleaned up all these edges with a little bit of sanding, and I got the pieces of glass cut out that I wanted to cut. Glass cutting is weird. I've never done it. I've tried to do it in the past to very little success and basically gave up on it. But basically what I use is this stuff, a little 3-in-1 multi-purpose oil, just for cutting. It'd be kind of funny if that fell down on the glass and cracked it or something. And then one of these little Lowe's or Cobalt glass cutters. It's got a little bit in there. If it focuses on it. Yeah. So it's got these little blades that go around. You can switch out the blade when they get dull. And basically what you're doing is you're like scratching really deeply, and then that creates a stress point, and then you bend it and it cracks along that line perfectly. It's hard to do. It's hard to get used to, but you basically just have to put the glass on a flat surface, make sure there's nothing underneath the glass, so when you push down on it, it cracks, and just put a couple drops where you're gonna start cutting, and just push down fairly hard, and just make a line. I used a sheet of, some flat stock aluminum to make my lines really clean. You can use a straight edge like this, like a square, anything you have to get a really straight line. Oop. Almost dropped an intercooler. or an oil cooler. But yeah, and then once you cut them, they're going to be really, really sharp. And you don't want to nick an artery when you're doing a water change or something, because let's face it, that would be really embarrassing. But yeah, so I sanded these out with like some 120 grit and some 320 grit after that, just to make sure all these edges aren't razor sharp and I don't die in a lame way. And so these are gonna go here, one there, and then one here, obviously equally apart. The main thing I'm concerned with the 20 gallon long, since it's so long and not very wide, I'm not worried about supporting these corners really. I'm just wanting to make sure that this doesn't bow out and weaken the silicone. That's the main issue. So I'm gonna silicone these guys in and let that cure. All right, I just finished siliconing these guys in and kind of cleaning up the edges. Yeah, not really much more to show. It's not white silicone. Silicone just tends to come out white if you're using that kind. It cures clear. And one sec. It says it dries clear in 7 to 14 days. In my experience, it goes way faster than that, but I guess we'll see. Usually this stuff, I mean, it's not a lot at all, so it should hold pretty soon. This is just what I'm using. It's not going to be in the water, so I'm 90% sure that this is fish safe. I think I researched this particular one back in the day. And I'm 95% sure it's fish safe, but this isn't in the water, so it shouldn't really matter. But yeah, I'm gonna give this some time to cure and dry up, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, for the next part of this video, we are in my bathroom. The silicone is mainly cured, like for the most part. It's not gonna cure really anymore, I don't think. And we're gonna make sure it doesn't break open. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure the amount of bow it has, like how much it goes, or the lack of bow, I guess. I'm gonna measure this and then I'm gonna fill it up and measure it again and see if it's bowed out at all. Hopefully it won't, but we'll see. All right, so as you can see, these are no longer attached to the tank. I guess the silicone wasn't as cured as I thought it was, and they just kind of, as the tank started to bow, it just separated on one end, so I just pulled them off. It wasn't doing anything. But you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see in the video, but there's a slight bow. I've read that, like on forums and stuff, when people measure the bow with the rim on, it's no greater than the bow without the rim. So with the tank, when the tank was empty, we had 12 1/4. Jeez, stay. And now we have right about 12 3/8. So an eighth of bow is what I've heard with and without the rim. So you're probably honestly good to just run a 20 long without a rim or any supports. But just for the sake of overbuilding, like I often prefer to do, I'm going to be ordering some actual aquarium silicone that doesn't take 7 to 14 days to cure, and I'm going to be reattaching these guys. But I'm going to leave this for 24 hours, and if anything changes, I'll update the video. If not, yeah. All right, so since those little guys, like I said, since those little glass slats kind of came out as I was testing, I ordered some good aquarium silicone. I did a lot of research, and apparently this stuff is what the professionals swear by. It's a Momentive RTV 100 series. This is, it's gonna be backwards actually, so that's wonderful. I'll throw a link down in the bio for what I used. Not in the bio, a link in the description of the video where you can get this. It's like 12 or 13 bucks. It's more expensive than the stuff I used before, but it's apparently really good, and I'm about to reseal a 90 gallon with it and stuff. But anyway, yes, I redid the glass slats. The tank is actually up and aquascaped right now. It still needs to grow in a lot, but I'm gonna show you guys really quick what it looks like. And for the followers that actually, or subscribers that actually watched this far, you guys will be gifted with an update video of this. tank because it should be really cool when it's done. But yeah, I'm just gonna show you guys the slats and stuff, how it looks finished. And so this is what they look like. Silicone cured very nicely. It's a little bit of like texture stuff I could clean up a little bit more, but you can't really tell from a distance. It just looks like a tank. And there is pretty much, if you can see a little bit there is no bow at all. Like these hold like really, really well, and it went much better than I actually anticipated. So I'm actually really happy with this. So yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of settles it. You can definitely DeRim a 20-gallon long without issues. Or I guess technically we haven't settled it because theoretically this could go very, very south in like a month or two because the silicone could just be taking time to fail. I don't see why it would, honestly. But anyway, everything is going well for now. If anything does happen, I'll post a video, I guess, with a super clickbaity title like, oh my god, my tank exploded all over the place and I caught it on camera. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For my like serious subscribers out there, an update is coming out soon. For my more serious subscribers, there's like 3 videos that I'm about to edit in the next 10 minutes. So you guys will be getting some cool content soon. And thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next time.